Well, I've said many times before, I am a big fan of a progressive alliance. And for those of you who don't know what a progressive alliance is, the idea is that because at the moment on the left in the UK, the left vote is essentially split between Labour, the Lib Dems, Greens and the SNP, the idea is that we should all come together and essentially find seats where certain parties are basically the best to win, and then say everyone else who is of those other parties should vote for that particular party. Now, we've had some interesting successes, obviously in the Amersham by-election and also in the Batley and Spen by-election. Now, at the moment, it must be said that it has not yet, and I say this yet, been fully confirmed that these were the reasons for the win. Now, they might very well have been the reason that these seats were won from the Conservatives and, Labour won in Batley. Especially in Batley, where you saw the Lib Dem support seem to almost automatically go straight for to Labour. So there are some strong cases that, yes, this was indeed the reason that they did win those seats. But overall, there are still things to find out. For example, how is the Progressive Alliance going to work? Which seats are going to go to who? For example, Sheffield. There's approximately 3 seats around there. Sheffield and Hallam. Probably definitely going to be put towards the Lib Dems. But again, there are 2 very clear seats where it's like, well, technically Labour are the clear winners in those seats, but the Lib Dems might once again shoot themselves in the foot and maybe demand too much, like Lisa Nadley did back just a few years ago. But that's beside the point. So there are still questions to be answered about this Progressive Alliance, how it's going to work, and what policies a unified government of these parties is going to attest to. But it's not just the parties and the politics themselves, it's people like you and me on the ground who also have work to do as well. And we are going to talk about that today, getting involved. So, as is always, please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button. And also down below there are links to my Patreon page, as well as a one-off donation link called Buy Me a Coffee, where you can indeed buy me a coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way. And always remember, please do remember to wear a mask and maintain social distancing. So, on with today's article. So, this comes from the Yorkshire Bylines. So, a progressive alliance means active collaboration, not just standing aside. As someone who's now stood 3 times for the Green Party at a general election, I was generally pleased when I woke up on Friday morning to discover that Kim Leadbeater had won the Batley and Spen by-election for Labour. Not just as I was generally pleased when the Lib Dem Sarah Green won in Chesham and Amersham. I basically don't like seeing Conservatives win elections, and I particularly don't like Johnson's narrow set of far-right political theorists win either. Yeah, I'm not as cheerful as I might be. Instead, I'm really worried about how the leaders of those 2 parties have chosen to interpret their victories. By contrast between their public statements and what they really need to do if there is to be any realistic chance of winning the next election. One of those reasons Kim Leadbeater won is that she was well represented locally, and she seems to be a real human being who understands her community and is rooted in it. She doesn't come across as a machine politician who is more interested in her career than the people she now represents. I believe the same is true of Sarah Green. People like politicians who sincerely believe in what they say. They don't like political machines that calculate what is the best path or the best pitch to make to best focus group scores. Voters are increasingly looking for someone who doesn't belong inside the political establishment. And for some of them, that leads to a vote for the utter charlatans like Galloway or even Trump. For others, it leads to a determination to vote for a candidate from a party that is obviously dedicated to a set of beliefs, such as the Greens or Women's Equality Party or even the Yorkshire Party, even under a first past the post system. And the Lib Dem leader thought that the way to deal with this was to change in the national mood, was to get an orange hammer and knock down a wall of plastic blue bricks, while triumphantly proclaiming that the Lib Dems could win anywhere. Keir Starmer avoided the naff photo opportunity, but went for a very naff reference to the football. He breathed a huge sigh of relief that his lacklustre leadership was safe from another serious challenge, or just for a bit longer, and went out proudly in the front of the cameras and told us that Labour was coming home. So, what if the harsh reality is far more complex? What if there are now very few voters who have a firm loyalty to the Labour Party or even to the Lib Dems? What if there are people that are in every seat in the country who are reluctant to vote for either of these parties? What if the alternative parties like the Greens continue to rise in popularity? Environmental emergencies aren't going away and they're getting more serious. And a significant proportion of voters are going to want to be able to use their vote to ensure that their message gets across loud and clear. Are the Labour Party and the Lib Dems going to try and fool themselves that everyone is full of goodwill and going to unite behind their own brand, and they are about to storm to victory in a seat after seat at the next election? Or are they going to take the decisions on the left seriously and recognise that they just aren't going away? At the 2019 general election, there were almost 53% of votes cast that were for left of centre candidates. Just over 47% of were for the Conservative and Unionist parties and a Brexit-style candidate. Yet, the Conservative Party stormed home, and we all know the consequences far too well. If Labour and the Lib Dems use the next 3 years to actually pursue the illusion that they can unite everyone behind the one true cause, then they will lose. My party, the Greens, has been long offering for almost a decade to work with the others to establish a progressive alliance. There comes a point where the Greens have to stop appealing to the others to work together and just get on with maximising their vote and stand everywhere. So my appeal to Keir Starmer and to Ed Davey is one very simple point. Just pick up the phone, talk to the other progressive parties, sort out a genuine alliance that everyone can have something positive to commit, or proportional representation. Do politics with left triumphalism and get more collaboration. Get us all working together, or just watch us split apart even more significantly and lose yet another general election. And I sort of agree. Again, this is calling for more unity again in these parties, and there has to be a unity at the top. This is why, even though I am so in favour of a progressive alliance, currently people are saying it, but nothing's being done to actually get it done. The Greens are obviously very much in favour, and one thing Keir Starmer could do, he could go to the Green leader, what's her face? Can't remember her name, but she's from Brighton. Basically go, look, if the Greens stand by us, we will give you the Environmental Secretary state position. Back us, you get that seat. That could be very well a good position how this starts, but it involves Keir Starmer actually picking up the phone and actually committing to do this. And at the moment, that isn't going to happen. Like I said, if literally there was a general election announcement tomorrow, unless something very significant were to happen in like the next 2 to 3 weeks, I would be writing off a progressive alliance. And I would say, look, if you want to win, vote Labour. And that would be my general path to action. That would be my call to action to everyone. But at the moment, I am fingers crossed for Progressive Alliance, because again, it is definitely a way to victory. But again, there are still significant questions about a Progressive Alliance that still need to be answered. So, as always, please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who support the channel that way. And as always, thank you very much for watching. And also remember, don't forget to wear your mask when you go out. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.